Amazing. I am bringing up Andresa here today. Andresa, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited for this next session. I feel like the number one thing behind like DeFi that people are always really curious about is how do I get involved with real estate investing? Can I make passive income from it? Like, how do I run the numbers for this as a beginner? I'm not quite sure where to start. So we are so excited to have Andresa here today. Andresa, if you don't know her, is the co-founder and CEO of the Real Estate Investor, which is an incredible community that had, I think, started on Facebook, and there's over like 10,000 different people that are in there, but it really empowers women to kind of like live this more balanced life and get to ask questions and really connect with others who are really interested in real estate investing itself. So Andresa, I'm so excited to have you here today running this sort of 101 session, and I'll let you share a bit more about yourself and take it from here.
I'm super pumped to be here, and the next 30 minutes or so, I'm just gonna dump a lot of stuff on you, but it's just gonna start turning the wheels. Our time is very limited, so don't feel that we're gonna resolve the world's problem today. It's just a lot of thought-provoking questions. We are all about taking actions, and have grace with yourself. There's a lot of information out there about real estate, and we want to create what works for you. And we don't want to also make it as so complicated then women are not investing. So my job here is to make sure you have a clear path on what your next step can possibly be. So let's get started here. I have a couple of slides. Kat, if you could move forward, that would be great. All right, so today I'm going to talk about the 7 roadblocks that on our community, on our conversations that we have with women throughout the years, that we have found that those are the 7 roadblocks that are holding women back. So we're going to tackle all of them. You guys ready? So I'm not going to be looking at the chat, but feel free, Amanda and Kat, to bring the questions to me, interrupt, and just bring the questions. I want to make sure that I'm addressing everybody's questions as we go through. Okay, let's get started, Kat. Let's start. So Liz is my partner, and we started the real estate investor community a couple of years ago. Just a quick background for you. And our mission is to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life, whatever balance means to you. That's very important to us. We have different communities around real estate that don't take in consideration all the different things that women have, right, on their plates. And it's important for us that we can create life on our own terms. And how does that look like is very different from one woman to another. Go ahead, Kat. So you guys have a quick background of us. We have a combined 27 years of experience with a $130 million portfolio. We went from flips to new construction. We just closed on a 607 unit apartment complex. So we walk the walk. We are not just here telling you stories. That's what we do for living. So we can always share from our experience. We don't claim to know everything. That's why we have partners with other women that know different areas, but we are always sharing and explaining what we do based on our experience. And just a disclaimer, I'm not a guru, not a financial advisor. Everything that I'm saying here is for educational purpose only and based on my own experience. Go ahead, Kat. Just a quick snapshot of our community. We started 4 years ago with a podcast, an investment of $630. And looking back, that was such a big deal for us to invest into something that, you know, if you couldn't have any return, a podcast couldn't have any return. So since then, we are part of the Bigger Pockets Network, which is the largest podcast in the world for real estate investors. We have tons of downloads per month, and we are in 42 countries right now. Meetups is very important to Liz and I, that women have a place to meet each other and talk. So we created more than 50 locations around the country and Canada. We published a book called The Only Woman in the Room. We have a membership, and we also have EXP, very dedicated for investors, realtors that would like to build their investment portfolio. So that's a quick snapshot about the investor community. As Amanda said, we have a very, very strong Facebook community. It's free, where women can come and get the help they need, without feeling shamed to ask the questions. There's a tons of women there that really are rock stars and are willing to share their experience. So let's get started here. Let's start with go ahead, Ken. So it's very important that I set the tone here about the outcomes of this. Let me just take this out of my face here, of this presentation, right? So the goal here is that you will have a clear vision of what you bring to the table. Where are the gaps that need to be filled, and what you need to invest on your own terms. So that is the goal. So you can have what the next step look like. Women usually tend to want to see the entire roadmap in order for them to take one step further or pull the trigger. And we encourage you to focus on what is the next step. And then once you're there, focus on what's the next step. Little by little, you're gonna move, make progress. We're overachievers. And that is for our own detriment as well, because many times we make things more complicated. So the sequence that I'm presenting to you guys here is very important. And there's a reason why we put it within that sequence, because we don't want to talk about certain things without the self-awareness as the priority here. So let's go. Go ahead, Kat. So roadblock number one, self-awareness. What do you bring to the table? Many women disregard the skill sets that they learn from past experiences, past jobs, or their personality. So I want to make sure you guys understand that investing in real estate, you are already bringing a ton of things to the table. What do I mean by that? And we put a couple of options over here for you. You do a personal inventory. That's the first thing that you got to look back and see, okay, what I'm naturally good at. Your credits, your liabilities, important to have that very, very clear. Your time. Are you somebody that have a lot of time or little time? Depending where you are with time, certain types of real estate investments are going to be more appealing to you, others won't. Your experience, either in real estate and other types of experience. I usually say the nurses, for example, nurses and doctors are amazing problem solvers. They need to assess the situation with the person who is coming there sick and propose a solution. So that's a very valuable skill set. So think about what you do today if you have a W-2, and what can you transfer into real estate. Your skills, what you're really great at, what is very, think about this, what it comes very natural to you, that you're like, well, this is easy to me, but it might not be for other people. So that it is valuable, and we tend to dismiss it. Women tend to dismiss what comes easy to us. We can do multiple things at the same time, and we can turn things very quickly, and we dismiss that. That is a very important tool that you bring to the table. Your relationships, who do you know? We get hung up on the how, but how can I do that? And we want to shift to that. Who do you know that can support you with that? Is the who, not the how. Forget about the how. That is just holding us back from moving forward. Focus on who. Who do I know? Who do I need to build a relationship with? Who is my circle that I can rely on and share resources with? Your personality style. This is something that Liz and I really think that is not used to the extent that you should. If you haven't taken any personality test like DISC, Strengths Finder, there's tons of options out there. It's very important for you to really understand who you are. Are you an introvert, an extrovert? And I'm going to go over a very specific slide about this, but it's just a 101. Knowing your personality is just basic 101. You really need to know your level of dominance. If you like formality, if you don't, it's all natural. It's not who you're tending to be, but who you naturally are. Go ahead, Kat. So your strengths and gaps. We simplify this here to make sure that it's digestible. So we focus on three things, right? Your skills, your personality, and your experience. So let's say that I have never done a rehab or a construction in my life, right? If I were to start it all over again, I will never do it by myself whatsoever. I want to find what I'm good at and then fulfill the gap with a type of partnership, or I will invest passively in order for me to learn as well, just to shadow and learn about it. You got to understand your personality, your skills and experience. The worst thing that you can do is to partner up with somebody that brings to the table exactly the same thing as you. You don't want to partner up with people that are like you. That is not a good way to partner up with. You can be friends with them. You can share different things with them, but partnerships are people bringing different things to the table and acknowledging their role within the partnerships. So always keep that in mind, because we don't want you to be good at everything in real estate. You cannot be, you're not going to be, and that is the bottom line. We put too much pressure on ourselves to figure out everything on our own. And if I were to do it again, I wouldn't have done it. It's much quicker when you are partner up with other people, leveraging their experience, their resources. That's what I would done again. All right, Kat, go ahead. Bragging list. And I'm not going to read everything that I wrote over here, but if you want to take a screenshot, feel free to it. Bragging list is extremely important when you are building relationships with other lenders, with other investors. You are trying to understand either if you are going to partner up with them as an active investor or a passive investor. It's always important for you to really own who you are, but what you bring to the table. So when you look back at every single accomplishment that you achieved on your own or within a company, I want you to start memorizing it and putting into bullet points, right? If you led teams, it's very important for the person that is hearing you that you have experience in leadership positions. It's always valuable for you to really own it. If you have raised funds before, say it. Say how much, how many millions have you raised, how many doors did you own? Just brag about it. We tend to dim our light so we don't apparently make people see us one way, shape, or other. We can control that, right? The goal over here is for you to really own who you are and what you bring to the table. That is extremely important when you are start connecting with other real estate investors. Go ahead, Kat. All right, roadblock number 2, lack of a goal and a plan. So a goal is the final destination, right? And the plan is how you're going to achieve that, the step by step. And many investors are visionaries, meaning they have a ton of ideas, they have watch podcasts, they watch shows, they do different things, but they have a problem figuring out the step by step. So they need to look for other partners that are integrators. And this terminology comes from the book Rocket Fuel that I highly recommend, because it's important for you guys to know who is who in a partnership. So here are some questions that before you do anything, you pick a strategy to invest in real estate, you should ask yourself, what are your money goals? Do you need chunks of money, or do you need cash flow, meaning monthly payments coming through every single month? What is your lifestyle? Some people want to live at the beach, not at the beach, but close to it, right? That's a lifestyle. Or others want to live in the mountains. What is it? What do you want to do? How does that look like? It's very, very important. You want to live in the city, the suburbs. How does it look like 5 years from now? Because then you can work backwards. Why real estate to achieve those goals? You can achieve your goals by doing completely different things, right? Why real estate? In my opinion, I enjoy this tool to achieve my goals, but it's just a tool. It's just a tool. It's not who I am. It's a tool that I use to achieve financial freedom and time freedom. Freedom of time is extremely important to me, but it can be achieved in completely different ways. That's why you guys are here, right? There's different types of investments. But for real estate, you don't need to be an active investor in order to benefit from real estate investing. Why would you do it if you could not fail? What would you do? It's always important to think about that. What brings joy into your life? What's your perfect day looks like, or your perfect week looks like? In 5 years, how do you envision yourself? Where would you be in terms of your business, in terms of your personal life? How is your lifestyle there from all those angles is extremely important, because what you're doing now needs to be really linked to what's going to happen in 5 years. It's very clear. If you want to know if you're on the right path, you can ask yourself this question. What I'm doing today is contributing to my 5-year goal, yes or no? Is it taking me there, or yes or no, or it's just delaying it? If you're saying it has nothing to do with my 5-year goal, something needs to change. If you say, well, it is contributing to my 5-year plan, you're on the right path. And if that's not the case, tap into your tribe, your circle of contacts, in order to brainstorm how can you adjust, what can be done so you are on the right path. Go ahead, Kat. All right, so this is very nitty gritty, and correct me if you guys have questions, just bring this up, because I'm going to start with very specifics in real estate, okay? So I see a lot of people evaluating properties right and left. They watch a couple of HGTV shows, and they're going inside properties and evaluating them and get very frustrated with everything, and then evaluating the market. So we highly recommend, before you even look inside a property that you're looking to buy, to rent, or to rehab, you've got to understand the market, and you got to make a decision. Do you want to invest in your backyard, or do you want to invest out of state? Is very important, because, for example, me, if I want to invest in apartment complexes, I cannot invest in my backyard. It's not going to make any sense, right? So if that's important to me, I need to see what is my market offering me, not the other way around. Then you want to be an active or a passive investor. A nitty gritty, a very simple way to determine that is, think about time and money. If you have a ton of time, little money, you can totally be an active investor over here, because you can deploy that time and leverage what you're bringing to the table. If it is the opposite, if you have a W-2, or you have different things going on in your life where you don't have the time, but you really enjoy your career and you don't have intention to become an active investor, you can become a passive investor. It requires knowledge to do that. Just make sure you're vetting the sponsor and the deal itself. Your lifestyle, we already talked about it, but I'm saying this all over again because many times we create jobs for ourselves that actually are not matching the lifestyle that we want to live. So bring lifestyle it should be on your spreadsheet, basically. Every single thing that we do is about what are our own terms and how does that look like? And that evolves as you go. Real estate niche. You can do wholesaling, flipping, rentals, and commercial. There's different areas, right? But think about what you're bringing to the table. And if you want to be an active, if you want to be a passive investor, there are different paths that you can go. It's not just because people are flipping houses that you cannot get the same type of return by doing other strategy, by being a passive investor, for example. You don't have to just follow what the trend is. The most important thing is you're making a decision, very rational, based on your needs, desires, and that is a very confident decision, not just because is a trend. Go ahead, Kat. So real estate requires time and money, as I explained. The key here is not necessarily your money, and it's important for you guys to understand this. And you don't need to have experience yourself in order to do that. Again, I am honing into explaining that it's very important when you are partner up with other folks that do have that experience, so you can leverage other people's time, money. You can raise private capital. That's what we do all the time. People have a problem. They need to deploy their funds into assets that are producing cash flow. And we have opportunities for them. That is a match. And that's exactly what you can do as well. Go ahead, Kat. Reframing. As I mentioned again, there is a book called Who Know How by Dan Sullivan. And this book was very, very powerful and transformational in our lives. So instead of asking, how am I going to do this? We encourage you to ask, who do I need in order to accomplish this goal? Who do I need to connect? Who do I need to deepen my relationship with? It's not like new people. You already have a lot of people in your circle, in your life, that you might want to take it to the next level in terms of relationships and really share what you're up to. So always make a list of people that you already know and people that you want to get to know. Networking is extremely important. Your local RIAs, your local investor meetups are where the investors are hanging. That's where you can find your next partner. Go ahead, Kat. Lack of knowledge. This is something that we hear a lot. Women are not investing in real estate for the lack of knowledge. And I am going to break this myth down because knowing does not change anything. Many times knowing, reading books, listening to podcasts, and doing a lot of content-based information don't change anything. It actually paralyzes people. When they know a lot, it's daunting to pull the trigger. So don't think that you need to know everything in order for you to take the first step. And don't think that you need to know all the strategies and pay thousands and thousands of dollars knowing all the strategies in order to do that. It's just insanity. You got to focus on the strategy that you're looking to learn and then dissect it. And the way that we say, you do your due diligence, of course, you read, you watch the podcast, but you really need to find other people that are already doing what you're looking to do, because a lot of strategies that are out there on the street is a very good teacher, right? The street is a very good teacher. There are a lot of things that are not on the books. So lack of knowledge is running your business like a business. We have the 3 pillars on our community, which is real estate investing, business strategies, and self-care. And we encourage you to think about real estate as a business out of the bat since the beginning. Otherwise, it's just going to be a hobby. You're going to get paid as a hobby. Real estate is a business and you need to be serious about it. We just recorded a recent podcast. If you're interested in understanding like the 1-page business plan, that's exactly what we recorded for a lot of people. It's important to have that business plan out of the bat, so you're really building a solid foundation for your business. Go ahead, Kat. All right, step-by-step guide. Okay, so let's go over one by one here. Step number 1, determine your financial goals. Do you need chunks of money? Flipping houses can be. Do you need passive cash flow coming through? A passive investment can be an option. Rentals can be an option. Syndication can be an option. You really need to think about what are your financial goals. More important is really to narrow down what's coming in and what's going out every single month. And depending on your lifestyle, that number is not huge at all. Depending on your lifestyle, if you really want to go full force, that monthly minimum that you need to bring in is high. So it's all depends. Step number 2, you determine the niche based on your financial goals. You're going to select the real estate strategy that is going to fulfill that goal. Is it active investing? Is it passive investing? You don't need to be dealing with general contractors with toilets and tenants in order to benefit from real estate. Passive investing is an option. Number 3, determine a target market. The market is important, extremely important. You cannot get apples from orange trees, right? Same thing with the market. I wish I could invest in my local market. I cannot. So I invest out of state. The different strategies that you have available to you, you either change the strategy or change the market if those don't match, but it must match. It must match. You can't force one thing. You can't, like California, for example, is a completely different market than Kentucky. The numbers are totally different, right? I cannot make the same strategy in Kentucky that I cannot make California work with the same numbers that we are working on Kentucky, for example, with apartment complexes. Number 4, build your team. We're masters on doing things on our own, and I encourage you to start building your team. There is an external team, which are your CPA, your project manager, your property manager, your attorney. You start building that solid team. And then your internal team, little by little, you can have assistants and you can start really like honing, firing. The goal is to fire yourself from your position. Every single position that I'm in, the goal is to fire myself so somebody can be on my plate. Line up financing. The finance is always important. And although it's number five over here, don't wait until you have a deal in order to start lining up your finance. Building relationship and report with lenders is part of what you do. It's in your business, right? So you're always looking to connect with lenders and run mock-ups. How about if I find this type of deal here? Well, would that work for you? Find mock-ups, even if you don't have a deal, because then when you do have a deal, you can match the lender with the deal. And the process is quick. So you got to have all your ducks in the row. Step number 6, create a plan to find the deals, analyze the deals, and make offers. As you go through this process, please keep in mind, document how you're doing it. The goal is for you to create SOPs, which is called standard operating procedures. So you don't need to repeat it. And if somebody needs to jump in to support you, they already know how do you want things to run? So keep in mind, as you grow, document every single process that you do. Go ahead, Kat. There are different types of financing. I won't have the time to go to explain every single one of them, but I just want to put over here that creativity is king, to be quite honest, right? We can do cash purchase, conventional mortgage, which is on the residential side of the bank, commercial loans. When I say commercial loans over here, I just want to clarify to you, it does not mean that I'm buying a commercial property. It means that I can buy a single family house or a multifamily house under an LLC, under a company. And that is done on the commercial side of the bank. So we have the residential side of the bank, which is under my name, and the commercial side of the bank that is going to deal with my company. Many times we're talking to the wrong side of the bank. We're talking about getting finance under my company, but we're talking to the residential side. So make sure you're talking to the right people. Hard money lenders, they charge many times interest, points, origination fees. If the numbers work, who cares? Owner seller finance, in a nutshell, this is when the owner holds the note. Basically, they become the bank and you pay them directly. That's very creative. Many people like that because they don't need to pay capital gains when they sell the property. And private money, when you have passive investors, it could be family members, people that you already have a relationship, they are lending money for a return on their investment. Go ahead, Kat. So this is a quick case study that I'm going to show it to you, how we did it, and how we leverage both private money lending and then our skill set. So this is a lot that we bought here in Philadelphia for $210,000. We built 3 townhouses. This is the stage that they were when we were framing everything. From start to finish to sale, it was 10 months. Keep in mind, this was a shovel ready, meaning when we bought it, the architect plans were already approved and the permits were all ready to go. We close on a Thursday, we start excavation on a Friday. So it's all very, very planned out. We pre-sold those properties and the average sales price was $420,000 each. Go ahead, Kat. Here, I'm going to break down how did we finance it, right? So it was a mix of commercial bank, which means that they loan under our company, and private capital. So we had an investor putting up $290,000 for down payment, closing costs. That's what the amount that they put. The terms that we agree with this lender was 8% interest plus 12% of profit. The 12% profit came over here because think about this. We are doing the commercial bank loan, right? So the first lien position is with whom? The bank. So the private lender was in second lien position, which is riskier for him. So in this case, we said we're going to give you 12% of the profit on top of everything else. So his return in the period of 10 months was 17.38%. He made 46 grand. We made 145,000 with zero out of our own pocket. That's the quick summary about this study case. Go ahead, Kat. Roadblock number 5, lack of time, right? We all have limited time, 24 hours. That's what I've got. But we are able to buy other people's time. Keep that in mind. When it comes down to time, When you think about the word busy, there is a differentiation that we need to make sure we have it. Busy versus productive. And we don't want to get caught up into being busy at all times. Busy is completely opposite of moving the needle forward. Busy means that you are doing things maybe you're not supposed to be doing. None of those things are not helping you to achieve your goals, or are you just doing them because you have to, not because you enjoy them or you're good at? Think about everything that you are doing now, and then make a list of the things that you want to take out of your plate because you don't like them, because you are not good at, or because there are other people that are even better than you, even though you enjoy it. So you can really focus on what you're good at. That's the goal. Go ahead, Kat, please. So when you think about your time, we are currently wearing as women different hats, right? We're women, mom, many of us are moms, have partners, we're investors, we're friends, we're daughters. So when you are putting together your goals, don't focus only on the investor side and put there how many doors you want to have or things like that. Think about a holistic approach where, as a woman, what are your goals as a woman? What are your goals as a mom, as a daughter, as a friend, as an investor, as a partner? We want to make sure it's a holistic approach so you can really feel that you're living a fulfilling life and living your purpose. When you do that, you will feel that you have a ton of time. You are actually focused on where you're good at. So you're buying people's time, and then it just multiplies how much you can handle. But if you're thinking about holding or handling everything on your own, you're right. You have 24 hours and it's going to be limited. Go ahead, Kat, please. All right, how to overcome, right? We have 24 hours, entire day. Leverage and alignment. As I keep saying throughout this presentation, leverage, leverage, leverage. You cannot leverage, there's a detail over here. You cannot leverage with people that you are not aligned to, that you have different core values. It's very important that you're leveraging, diversifying, you're diversifying in your skill sets, your time, and your experience, but you're really aligned when it comes down to your values. It's super important. You don't want to leverage with people that have completely opposite core values than you do. So that's when partnerships are really, really challenging, when different people bring different things to the table, but they are not aligned where they want to go, and their values are completely different. So those conversations need to happen before you shake your hand and partner up with somebody. We put together, I just remember right now, and I can give Amanda the link later on, but I'll just spit it out right now. We put together a one-page PDF where we recommend questions that you should ask yourself. Your partner should ask himself or herself, and then together you answer it. It's our partnership guide. So you can download for free at therealestateinvestor.com/giveaway. It's a very important guide that I wish we had before, so we could have avoided all the bad partnerships that we had in the past. Go ahead, Kat. All right. So remember that study case that we just said it? We divided and conquered that. And this is how we did it. Liz was the hunter. She was the acquisition. She hunted for that project. She brought the project to the table. Then the brains was a team effort. What can we do with this project over here? The money was Matt Faircloth, Liz's husband. He raised private money. So that was his role within the company. I was responsible for the contractor, the managing the project, the execution. Once we closed on the project, both Matt and Liz were out of the picture. Then the ball comes to my hand and I take it to the end. Of course, if there's issues, if there's problems, they are there to support. But when we have clear goals and clear rules, there's no overlapping. You reduce so much the stress and the project goes smooth. So this one, we showed it, we pre-showed all of them. Go ahead, Kat. Roadblock number 6, lack of confidence. A lot of women feel they don't have the confidence to pull the trigger. They don't know where to start, or they feel that they're alone, that they need to figure out by themselves. And that is a reality for a lot of women. So how can we tackle that? Go ahead, Kat, please. So think about the personalities, right? Where do we get our confidence from? It's very important. So people that have high dominance, they're a very leader, they get their confidence when new opportunities show up and from themselves. They just do. They like initiatives. Extroverts, all the bubbly folks and extroverts that are really expressing themselves, they building relationships and positive and constructive feedback. So when they are talking to other people, the more they talk, the more that they get confident about it. High patient, learning from process and becoming familiar and comfortable with new areas. So people that have a lot of patience, they want to do their homework first. They want to understand how the process works. High formality, engineers, learning as much as they can and building their own knowledge base. So when you think about how did you get your confidence in the past with other things? When you were playing sports, for example, was it practicing? Was it watching other games? Was it like trial and error? What did you do in order to get confident? Think about how you learn to drive a car. Always think about how you learn that skill set. And at what point, what worked there that gave you the confidence that you could say, yeah, really good at this. I feel confident about it. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. You can come to the circle, to your tribe over here at Eve. Bring your challenge to the table, and other people can tap in and support you. Things get very complicated when we think that we're on our own, and then we need to figure out things by ourselves. Then we're limiting ourselves based on our skill sets, our time, and our expertise. Then there's a cap. That's the max that we can go. Go ahead, Kat, please. Stats. I'm not going to read all those stats, but here's the thing. So research, not my opinion. Women are better investors than men. No, nothing against men. Love them. Work with them all the time. But the results are very clear. Based on recent studies made, the return on the investments are higher on when the women is the lead. And one thing over here in 2017, for example, Fidelity's research says women tend to think comprehensively and create financial plans based on life goals for themselves and for their families. So it doesn't mean that they're not confident. It means they're conscious about it. It's different. This more conservative approach does not portray an aversion to risk, but rather a more calculated tactic. So it's not that women are not confident about it, or they're afraid of it, or they're more conservative. No, they're thinking strategically. And the results are showing when women are in charge of investments, they get better and higher returns. Just saying. So let's just reframe it. Partnerships. Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead. Partnerships. Get to know yourself and fill in the gaps with team members who have complementary skills. There's no shame into knowing the parts that you're not good at. I'm aware of them. So that's when my partnership comes in and brings that to the table. We got to stop trying to get better on those areas that we're not good at. You are spending a lot of time, and to be quite honest, it's costing a lot of money to your company. Focus on where you're good at, what comes natural to you, then you're just going to go for it. And be okay with somebody else taking over the stuff that you're not good at. Neither has interest in it, or it's just painful to do it. Just observe. Start observing everything that you do, what you really like and what you actually don't like, and don't want to do it anymore. Go ahead, Kat. All right, number 7, fear of failure, right? Failure only exists in the mindset of those who make the experience bigger than the learning. There's always a lesson on what happens. If we don't get the lesson, guess what happens? It keeps happening all over again. So if something in your life is happening over and over again, just observe what that is, because a lesson needs to happen. In our community, for example, we have people that contractors really like stole their money, went away, stole their money, went away. So how can this person vet the contractors? I cannot change the person, right? I cannot change how other people behave, but I can totally change how my vetting process happens. Those are controllables. So I request you guys to focus on what you can control. Go ahead, Kat. All right, never lose. I either win or I learn. And this is a quick, roadmap here. So let's say you made a mistake, and you will make big ones, small ones, medium ones. You're going to make mistakes across the board. The goal here is not to avoid making the mistake. It's learning from each mistake so you can get where you need to go. So when the mistake happened, a new skill and a knowledge, you gain that, which affects your emotional intelligence. Therefore, you gain experience. So you see, there's no way you can gain experience by not making different mistakes. I'm not saying go ahead and make a ton of mistakes, okay? But a lot of your true experience is from your biggest mistakes. Go ahead, Kat. So you want to level up. This is something that we are very strong about it, right? There's no way you can level up your finances, your business, or scale your portfolio without leveling up your leadership skills and your mindset, because you're going to be dealing with different members, team members, and different challenges, right? Right now, my team are 18 people and they're in 3 different countries. I have to deal with time zone and all the time, which was easier in the past because it was just me, right? But now it isn't. So I had to learn different skill sets in order to be able to be effective communicating with everybody. Go ahead, Kat. All right. So how much are you investing? And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about how much are you investing on a daily basis for you to achieve your goals. Think about podcasts, books, virtual events. All of those are compound, right? Compound effect. You're here, connect with everybody that is around here. One connection can really propel your business and change the trajectory of your business. In-person events, attend your local RIAs, your meetups, your conferences. Make an effort. This is part of doing business. This is part of building relationships with other people. So do your research. If you're looking for real estate, research real estate. If you're looking for more specific for finances, NFTs, and or Web3 or different areas that you want to learn, where are people like me going to hang? And you go there. And accountability. Masterminds are by far one of the most important things that I've done in the past that really propelled me to grow my business. So if you are not part of one, join one, create one, do it on a regular basis, consistency. Be part of a tribe so you can tap and so you get the support that you need. This is not a business to be run by yourself. This is a team play. Go ahead, Kat. So I just want to thank you, everybody, for being here with me today. It's important that you get the support that you need. And if you want to get more information about us and what we do, you can go to our website, The Real Estate Investor. You can follow us on Instagram. And oh, I did put the giveaway over here. This is the link for the partnership. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free. We spend a lot of time putting those questions together that we learned throughout my career, and we really wanna thank you all. Go ahead, Kat. Oh, one more thing before I go. I want to invite all of you over here too. If you want to put the link there, we do have a conference coming up on June for women real estate investors. It's going to be June 23rd and 24th in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we have a very important guest, Kim Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad, is speaking there. We have 5 keynotes, 20 sessions, and I invite you guys to come. Thank you so much. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah. Hey, Andresa, that was incredible. Thank you so much for walking us through that. I think it's, again, so important to have our foundation set. So we are also having these things going that are maybe more passive or as active as we want to be, in addition to the things that we're experimenting with maybe on the side in Web3 or anywhere else. I know there's so many different asset classes, but thank you again. I've been kind of watching the chat come through, and just in case you're not able to see it, just want to read back some of the ones that came in a little bit earlier on. But Lita was asking, in general, like, do you feel the market is due for a correction soon? She's looking on closing a place now, so hopefully it doesn't crash. So I was just curious to, get your thoughts.
We don't have a magic crystal ball, right? A correction is coming. We just don't know when that is coming. The most important thing is to understand that we don't have this United States cycle that everybody's on the same page. We have different states that are in different cycles right now, right? You're just gonna observe. My point is, no matter what happens, if the market crashes, more opportunities are gonna come in different ways. If they stays like this, there's always different opportunities. It's just thinking about, like, how can you ride this wave and pivot and see what's working, what's not, and just pivot. Absolutely, there will be a correction. We just don't know when. But we can look back and see some kind of like predictions, right? Interest rate are raising right now. So just observe.
Got it. Thanks so much, Andresa and Lita.
Sure.
Hope that helped answer your question. Next up is, how do you source investment opportunities in real estate, especially when we are in a seller's market and most projects don't typically seem to come online or be posted on public networks?
That is when you really need to rely on your network. It's the relationships that you have with other investors, with brokers, that are going to make a difference. That's why I keep saying connections are key here. If you wanna, you're gonna find your local tribe that you can join, that you can constantly be in contact with, be in front of wholesalers. I love one of the most simple and priceless strategies that I do is driving for dollars and contacting the sellers directly. Many properties are vacant right now. Many properties. Is really love average. Absolutely, the market right now has nothing to do with how it was 3 years ago, right? It's a little crazy, but the the deals are still being made. Just need to rely on connections. That's the time. If you are not finding the deals, focus on continue building relationships.
Got it. Thank you so much, Andresa. And
course.
for anyone who's just joining or has been listening in, if there's anything you need clarity on, any questions you might have, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Check out some of the links that Alana has been posting that link out to real estate investor stuff with giveaway, as well as the conference coming up in June that Andresa mentioned. But one of the other questions that came into the chat, Andresa, is what are key considerations given the rising interest rates away from historically low rates during the pandemic? So how do you think that will impact ROI and first-time buyers?
Well, first-time buyers are not going to be able to afford it, right? So they're going to do what? Rent. And what do? Landlord. I'm a landlord. I want to rent. So when people cannot afford houses, they need to rent. So the demand for rentals are going to increase. So right now we're focusing on what? Rentals, because when interest rate was lower and then people can buy it, flips. And I'm not saying one or another. You can do and, right? Is one and other. It's all about the lifestyle that you want to do. Before I did 15 flips at the same time. Right? I still have hair in my head. Don't know how, but right. But I don't have that interest anymore. It does not fulfill my soul and anything else. So I'm focusing more on cash flow. That is my purpose, to build generational wealth. So cash flow is very important to me, but I can't deny a good flip. I just like it. So I do that too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andresa, for being here, for taking us through all of that.
Of course.
We really do admire and learn so much from even the community that you've built up. And as kind of like a closing question to wrap it up and sort of just bring it back to the beginning, I saw Alana just posted this as well, but, you know, can you share with us a little bit of how you got started and, you know, share your first project when it comes to diving into real estate?
Yeah, Alana and I were talking about it because she did a quick interview and I shared it with her. So my first project was my own primary house that I totally overpaid for it. But so just a quick step back, because you asked how did I get started, right? So when I was in kindergarten, no, I'm just gonna skip that part. Just gonna go fast forward, okay? I was born and raised in Brazil, and I came to the US for my master's degree, and I took a job on sales position, door-to-door sales for Verizon. And one day I was talking to my manager and I said to him, I need a sales book. And he pushed across the table this purple book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I knew nothing about real estate. And that opened up a completely new world to me, because I didn't know people that were not born, you know, with silver spoon or sitting millions of dollars could own real estate. I just didn't know that at all. So long story short, I start informing myself about what is it. I study the market. And then my ex-husband at that time, he was my boyfriend. We started getting educated about it, and we purchased our first house 6 months later. So that house, I overpaid a lot for the contractor, but I learned a lot. That was my first house that I sold the last year, by the way. If went full cycle, I lived in it. And then I pull a HELOC out, which is the equity, right? I bought the property for a certain amount of money. I put a lot of value into it, and then I pull the equity out. What I did there that made total the difference in my investment business is that I appealed the appraisal value. There was a ton of mistakes there, and I was like, "Ooh, let me create my own report over here." I just didn't know that was not common. But after that, in different deals that I appealed the appraisal, I have gained a total of 300,000 extra that was not there. So for all of you that are refinancing, don't accept the appraisal as is. Just take a look and see if they made a mistake or not. Long story short, I got that HELOC and reinvest in another property. and then start like roll balling. And then we went from 1 to 2 to 3 flips at the same time, and then moved to new construction, rentals, short-term rent, moved out of that property, capped it as short-term rental, and then now apartment complexes. It does not need to be this like evolution, okay? Don't think like that. It just was my path. And here I am.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing it, too. Ilana wanted you to cap it off with that. So, Andresa, just wanted to extend some gratitude and love again for you being here, for all the work that you do, kind of just inspiring and guiding so many different people to take their first steps into real estate and to keep going.